Chatter, and today we're going to discuss something that I feel is very important, and I think we need to discuss it in length and really break down what it means. And of course, people may have their individual perspectives, but we're going to talk about the art, and I like that word, art, because art means, in my mind, to create. Mm-hmm. The art of forgiveness. Now, I want to start off by giving a definition of forgiveness. The action or process of forgiving or forgiving or being forgiven. Now, let me ask you all a question. Do you think it's hard to forgive someone? Does the forgiveness depend on the nature of the offense or who it is? What makes you prompt? I know as Christians we prompt to forgive, but what really prompts you to forgive? And do you have a hard time forgiving certain offenses? Is something in your mind you believe? Because even the Bible has the unforgivable sin. Mm-hmm. So, when people say something's unforgivable, we got to really talk about that, but that's another thing. But do you think there's something that, how do you all forgive? Is it hard to forgive? I guess
easy for me to forgive. Is it hard for you to forgive?
So I think, getting back to her question very specifically, I think that she's saying that it depends on the person. It depends on their closeness to you. And it depends on their offense.
Yeah. Like, there's a lot of
I do think that it does. Yeah, no. Some random Joe off the street that flicks me off, I ain't got no problems with forgiving him out. You didn't even bother me, to be honest.
Yeah.
But if a family member's lying on me to other family members, that's gonna take a little bit. That's gonna take a little bit of prayer. That's gonna take a little bit of separation.
Yeah.
That's gonna take a little bit of asking God. So I definitely think it depends on the offense and the offender.
Yeah.
So I don't think forgiveness, because I was just thinking about like people who have offended me. Well, for one, like when she was saying random Joes on the street, it takes a whole lot to like really, really offend me. I'm not saying you can't offend me. You can offend me, but for me to take it internally and like sit on it, it takes a lot, because most of the time, like I've been quoted as saying, it's sort of like, you ain't matter. You just did, what's the quote?
You don't matter?
You don't matter. Like, no,
that's
no,
a
no,
quote?
No. I was thinking of something else. It's something my mama be saying with her mean self.
So we're gonna push them.
Don't do my Alice.
I don't shit what you eat. So like, kind of like I take that into a lot of stuff. Like, so if you say something, you gotta matter to me to offend me.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
So then we start there, but that's even with people I deal with on a daily basis. Like the random coworker, they might piss me off, but I'm probably gonna cuss them out and then keep it moving.
Yeah.
So but like, so I was just thinking with the whole forgiveness thing that you're saying, it may take a little prayer. Just because I forgive you doesn't mean I'm with you later on.
We're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about what is your meaning. I'm asking, is it hard for you to forgive? Now, both of you all are saying it depends on the offense and the offender.
Yes.
Because those are outside of you. You don't have the expectation of how you should treat me. But those that you love, there's an expectation. I'm expecting you to be my girl. I have a certain expectation how we're gonna do this.
Okay. I think the word process stuck out to me because it is a process. And so once I feel like I learned that process, now I can say it's easier to forgive because I'm okay with it coming back up and knowing I'm going to have to re-forgive.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So
that's good. I used to feel bad because I thought when I was growing up, forgiveness meant forgive and forget right then and there.
So.
And then I used to torture myself because I'm thinking, wait a minute, but when I see her, I still hate her.
Yeah.
Like, am I a bad Christian because I still want to fight her?
That's so funny.
But, now, like you said, that's the word that stuck out to me. Process. And process goes through a series of things. Whatever it is, it's a series. So I like that word, the process of forgiving and being forgiven. So so I definitely think that, and I think there's an art to it as well.
It is.
Because you have to create your own way of doing it.
You do.
Because when someone offends me, like you said, I'm not gonna say it's easy. I'm not gonna say I'm not easily offended because I think
we know you're not easily offended.
I'm not easily offended.
Really?
You are easily offended.
I'm easily offended.
I'm
Yes,
easily
ma'am.
offended too.
Yes, ma'am. You are.
I'm easily offended.
And you're passionate about it.
Passion about what? What am I? I'm like, so what am I?
Tell a story, Deidre.
Yes, because I'm trying to figure out what am I easily offended.
I agree. I'm
I'm
easily offended, and I'm dramatic about it and extra about it.
And
so,
let me tell you why.
She said,
I can accept that I'm easily offended because you know why? One of my what they call that superpower traits, I'm considerate.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the mere fact that I'm considerate, I promise you, if I cuss you out, you earned it. Because I just don't go around and curse out people. I'm not easily.
I agree with that.
And I'm very considerate of how I treat you, what I say to you, what I do. It may seem that I'm not, but I'm very considerate.
No, you're a considerate person.
Because people can't, if you was to ask me what did Joanne do, they can't ever tell you.
Yeah.
So the reason why I'm easily offended is because I have a tendency to think that my heart, your heart should be like my heart. And like just soon as you consider, and when they don't consider, I'm like, that's
one of the things that I had to grow from. I know, and that's a hard pill to swallow.
That everybody ain't like
that. Your superpower is your superpower. Like, I cannot expect someone to behave how I would behave in any given situation. Like, just because I know it, just because I wouldn't do it to you, Joe, just because I wouldn't do it to Dee, or I wouldn't do it to Lydia, does not mean that somebody else knows that, feels that, understands that, has been exposed to that. They just don't. And it's taken me a while to get there. And I'm the same way. Like, if you get into my parking lot, that's what I like to say. If you get out of my pulpit, out of my balcony, to the parking lot, the dead,
somebody in the parking
down the
lot,
street, you understand what I'm saying? You have really done some stuff to me.
Yeah.
But
Listen, I had a blonde moment. I had to sit there and think about it. Okay,
she's talking about
but I had
because that's the way I describe relationships. That's the way I describe relationships. Our relationships can be described because the ultimate relationship we have is with our God, right? So the way that we express our relationship with God is through church, right?
Yeah.
So I just use that example. Okay, if you in the pulpit, that means what you need, like, you know what I'm saying? I'm finna drive to Atlanta. I live in Atlanta. I'm finna drive to Fayette. I'm finna drive to Greenville, Augusta. What you need? Okay, you need $20. Okay, whatever. But my point is, I have to understand that everybody does not operate like that, and I can't expect them to. And it took me a while to get there.
That's the conservative part of me. It's like I feel like there should be some kind of standard of how everyone needs to behave. In, like, for example, in school, if you can control, like, have this one way of how everyone treats each other.
But nobody ever conforms.
No one does. But
there's no conformity.
Let me tell you something.
Communism.
Let me tell you why. I can get with that to a certain degree. But this is what I feel. Everyone that I deal with, they are either eligible for AARP.
Wait a minute.
Or they write on the break.
Wait, what now?
I think I'm eligible. I get letters.
Okay, so thank you. So at this
probably
point
like
in life,
45.
At this point in life, you should know how to treat people.
You should.
So I'm not giving grown women and grown men.
Lydia said something earlier. She
people
said,
know what they're doing.
We talked about trauma. People have trauma, and people's trauma happens at different points in their life. People trauma happens at different. You could be.
I'm just saying these niggas are old enough to know better.
What if they experience their trauma late in life and now they regress?
Yes.
Why can't you regress?
That's true. But to your point, we are at an age where we can choose who we are around.
And that's the point, right? That part.
We share somebody in common that we choose not to be around that person because they do not respect certain boundaries.
Yes. And
that's how I feel. So it's like, well, we don't have to hear
that. But I'm just saying, there is an expectation. That's why I'm sometimes easily offended because I'm thinking in my mind, you should know better. And maybe that is wrong.
So you just move.
Yeah, I just move.
You just move.
So that means you don't have the art of forgiveness? Is that what we're saying?
I forgive.
You forgive them? Yeah.
And deuces.
But you're not. No, we're not deucing for life. We're just moving them to the parking lot.
Well, that's my way.
I mean, because but it's not deuces because the parking lot is important, right? You have to place your car there. It's going to be safe.
Okay, you know what?
You don't like my analogy?
What you talking about now with the parking lot is important. Like, come on. I
So,
need you to break it
but
down.
that's what I just
You
said.
just
People at arm's length.
Totally.
Oh,
out
okay. They totally not out my life.
Right.
Okay, they just there.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Do you
what?
think anybody that you totally cut off, if they was on fire, you wouldn't even spit on them?
No,
That's not really what we say. If they was on fire, you wouldn't. You know.
I
Is there a
couldn't do
person?
that.
Do y'all have a person like
No,
that?
I don't have a person.
I don't think I have anybody.
No, I don't. I don't have anybody.
Just the humanity in me.
Right.
I
don't.
can't think of
Because
one person.
everybody can only respond to a situation with what they have at that moment in time. Everybody dealing with their own stuff.
You know what?
I got somebody.
You think you at least got one person?
You got one
No,
person?
I can't think of anybody.
Well,
But
then that means you don't have anyone. So they said there's 7 steps to forgiveness. That means you don't have anyone, and that's good because
Do you have somebody?
no.
Oh,
Why you
I let the Lord.
Why you
Yeah.
saying
No. I'm gonna let the Lord deal with it.
I do, but that
part.
is my advice to some people who don't treat other people well. I tell like this one particular person. I've told her you need to treat people as if you were to catch on fire, they would be willing to spit on you. The way you're treating people right now,
they wouldn't even spit on.
they wouldn't even spit on you.
Did they receive it?
You know, no, they didn't. But they had a very high position, and they don't have a position anymore because of how they treated
behave.
people.
But this is why it doesn't take up space in my mind when you deal with people like that, because they're in a place mentally where they cannot receive it.
Yeah.
And if they can't receive a constructive criticism, how you just put it, I mean, you can't get no more than that. If they can't receive that, why would you think that they're going to respond the way you would respond in a different situation?
And you know what? Let me tell you something. I totally agree with that. I get so tired of people thinking, well, you need to say something to them. Everyone is not the same. I know there are 2 people I'm thinking right now. I know I could not say anything to them. They would turn it around. They would make it into an argument. They have no accountability. But let me tell you something. They have noticed a change in my behavior. And I saw this on an Instagram thing. People will notice a change in your behavior, but they won't acknowledge the change that caused it.
What they did to cause the change.
I missed it.
I said that people, I have a friend, it said that, I noticed you're not coming around anymore, you're not calling anymore. Because you're disrespectful and you're nasty. And I have come too far in my Christianity and I'm not going back to that person. So I've distanced myself. And she's like, well, you must have a boyfriend or something. I was like, no, I don't have a boyfriend. I said, it's so easy. Some people can acknowledge the change in your behavior, but they won't acknowledge what caused the change. So that's what I'm saying. That everybody, it's not a one size fits all. Don't go out there and say that, you could talk to this person. No, you can't have a sit down and talk to people because they're not willing. Because this is how I feel. If you were that logical and that compassionate and empathetic, we wouldn't have this conversation in the first place.
But that's my point. But that's what goes back to. But that's what goes back to the forgiveness.
You need to sit down and talk to them. No,
but
I don't.
But so that's what I'm saying.
I'm never going to talk again.
But that's what I'm trying to say. But that's the same energy that I have to put towards the forgiveness, the expectation of people, where you expect them to behave a certain way. It's just that they can't.
Yeah, and you know what?
They can't.
They can't. Okay, listen.
But I'm okay with that too. I'm okay. You get a choice who's in your life. You get a choice who's you. They don't. You don't have to.
They're not in my life, and they're over here.
That's right.
The 7 steps of forgiveness.
They might be on the road by now.
I went to the road.
Yeah, the debt.
Acknowledge the hurt. Now let me tell you, this was hard for me because when
acknowledge the hurt.
I was so prideful and arrogant. I was like, nothing hurts me. Nothing hurts me. So I did not acknowledge the hurt. Like that ain't bother me. But then I have to acknowledge the hurt.
I'm opposite of you.
Yeah, because
You hurt my feelings.
Yes.
Okay, I can do that now with no
wind blow.
I can do that now with no hesitation.
Wait on that. So you are acknowledging
that person hurt your
feelings. The person hurt your feelings, but are you able to move forward if that person discounts?
Yes.
So
okay. Listen.
Okay.
It doesn't have anything to do with it.
Gotcha.
Number 2, consider how the hurt and pain has affected you. Now that right there, I'm thinking, how did it made me feel bad? But let me tell you what I have a problem with, y'all. God help me. I want to fight.
I was going to say, you and Lydia always want to fight. It's got to be that northern blood because I don't want to fight.
I don't know. I have a cousin in Miami. She likes to fight too.
Hurt.
She's grown like this. She's grown like a city.
That's how it hurt me.
So you're vengeful?
No, I'm not vengeful.
No, I think
it has nothing to do with being vengeful. I just
you gotta get that energy out your system. I think they need a physical way to get the energy out.
let me tell you, this meekness that the Christianity has brought.
That's
The
so
old,
funny.
let me tell you who I fight with the most, myself. This old Joanne, that's why my name is Newness. This old Joanne and this new Joanne, we forever fighting. Because how I handle things before I thought was so much better. But in the Bible, it says it's not. So I'm always fighting. And I get so angry because I'm thinking, Lord, I can handle this in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 words.
Yes.
I got the gift of communication.
Look.
I can handle this. But now I gotta go and pray. I gotta go do this.
Yes, it's so much
responsibility.
So I was in a disagreement last night, as a matter of fact, and so
Your anger is new.
So look, I was like, when I was tired of hearing about it. I was tired of the conversation, and I was like, I am sorry, and I was doing this, and the person responded with, well, you don't have to be an ass about it. I'm not calling you an ass, but you're being an ass about it. I said, no, I'm trying not to fuck you up right now. That is why I'm doing this. I am trying to calm myself down because I could feel that, like, if I could just, then it'd be over with. So I get what you're saying with that fight against yourself, the Lydia Big Red versus Dr. Powell, even at work, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like I'm trying to regulate myself and not, you said how Christianity like brought you further, and I'm disappointed in myself when I feel like I go there. You know
That's
what I'm
y'all
saying?
physically want to fight.
Yes.
That is, no, it's like your body gets hot, like you.
No, she's asking you not how you feel. Like, do you physically want to
touch
fight?
them?
But
Like,
that's what she. That's what.
Yeah, like, I wanna,
That's what she's saying. That's how it builds up. It starts out with your body being
I
hot.
have seen
Is what she's
myself
saying.
stomp and what?
Yes.
Really?
I told one of our.
Oh my gosh.
I told
Is that what we're gonna call
I
it?
will say, I gave someone instructions. I need you to do this. He argued back. Someone else told him to do it. He argued with this person who, me and her have the same position, but she is older. She is 20 years older than me, as a matter of fact. I'm going to respect you just because of your age.
Yeah.
And you're talking back to her, so then I said something.
Right.
I need you to just go and do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
He let me know. I don't tell him what to do, and he know what his job is, blah, blah, blah. And I had to let him know, with my suit on the heels, you are lucky that I am in the middle of doing this, because otherwise you would see a different side of me.
Yeah.
Period. Point blank.
And let
in
me
the
tell you
discussion.
something now. What's even worse?
Who we hanging with?
I got.
Do you even want to fight?
Never.
Girl, y'all are protective. Y'all go somewhere, somebody F with y'all, me and Joanne there, it's gonna be
I
Oh, I
didn't
know.
But you know what? And you know what's
what?
But you know what? I was
you and
sitting
that
here.
fool.
I literally was sitting here just thinking, what a wonderful episode. How we can go to another episode, I don't know. But just the strength that you, the how you be wanting to fight people.
Don't say it.
No. I'm not trying to be funny right now. Seriously, as much as you have to restrain yourself, like I never ever. There's never one time that I ever want to fight anybody.
No,
Like,
not
I'm not
cuss
trying to be.
somebody out.
No, I don't even be wanting to
I know
cuss
she
people
don't,
out.
but I
Like, I don't
would.
even want to cuss people out.
But I
I
don't
just
wanna
like
fight.
look at people, and I guess
And the fact that I have bail money now.
like I just said, like, I
I'm
wish.
up on a lawyer.
So like I do wonder what are the differences in our upbringing, in our life, and our our experiences
that make us.
That, like, because when I tell you, like, I had this,
Or is our zodiac
there is-
signs.
there's nothing in my life I've ever wanted to fight. Just nothing.
Well, that is weird to me, but
That's like Tom Shea never got that in. Or you okay?
all right.
Okay, let's get back.
Forgiveness.
Time out. Let
Step
me answer
3.
that. Let me answer that. She said, "Tasha, you ain't never got that bad." I lied. One time I did get so mad, I did want to slap my husband.
Really?
I wanted to slap the taste out of my husband's mouth. And you know what I did?
What?
I walked out the house and I stayed with Joanne that night.
Yeah, she did. And when
I
Tasha came to the door, I
left
said,
my
"Tasha,
house.
what's wrong?" I saw it all over her face.
That I did. But I wanted to, like, I wanted to slap
So
him.
there's something else y'all had that y'all ain't tell me.
It was just
It was an in
random
the moment thing. You
It was
weren't
a
even
random thing.
like I literally left, but I didn't want. I did not want to
Okay.
slap him. That's why I left. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like my
Yeah.
power not to slap him was
Okay,
greater than
listen.
that.
So we understand that we can forgive. It's hard for us to forgive. Our forgiveness looks like violence, but then we take it down.
What's the next?
Okay, but let me ask you this, and this is where the Lord really had to deal with me. The person I had the hardest person to forgive was myself.
yeah.
I'm telling you, because you know
I
why?
can see that. Yeah.
I said to I
I probably-
cannot
yeah.
believe, and this is when the Lord said, Joanne, is pride, because the Bible says, do not think more highly of yourself than you ought to. I was relishing in the fact that I should have known better.
Yeah.
I should have not made
I've
that.
had those
Right?
moments.
So
I
it
do.
took me
I'll
a
give you
long time. Even Audrey to this day talk about Joanne, just forgive yourself. Because I'm like, Dad, I have so many battle scars, but thank God through healing, you know, I'm turning them into testimonies. But I always think I should have known better. Because let me tell you something what happened. When I turned 50, I meditated on the fact that I was 50. Because, you know, the Bible also says when I was a child, I spoke as a child, I did as a child. But when I became a woman, I put away all my childish things. So what I did was, I really thought, okay, this is where I am now. This is what I want to be. This is the outcome of my life. This is decisions I need to make. So in doing that, when I did make a mistake, it was like, come on, Joanne, now you know better. So, I mean, do you have a hard time forgiving yourself?
I have a hard time forgiving
I had
myself.
such a hard time forgiving like certain situations,
Yeah.
so much so that God sent someone to tell me I was forgiven. I will never forget. I was driving to oh God, where was I going? House of Pancakes, whatever, on Appalachian Parkway. I was driving up Appalachian Parkway, and I pulled up, got in the car. You know how the guys used to sell the newspapers out there? You know what I'm saying? And he said, hey, I need to ask you something. I said, I don't want a paper, you know, whatever. And he said, I don't know why. He said, I'm apologizing, but God said to let it go. You are forgiven.
Amen.
And this was something that was on my mind, constantly, something I beat myself up for like 4 or 5 years, literally.
Yeah.
And when he said, I just broke down and started crying.
That's good.
Like broke down, but it was something in my spirit that it was a battle even with God.
Yeah.
And he was like, okay, I'm gonna have to send somebody to this school to like say it in words. It's like, just let it go.
That's
you
beautiful.
know?
Yeah. So do you have a hard time forgiving yourself?
I do.
Yeah.
And I probably would forgive somebody else quicker than I forgive myself. Like you said, for that same reason, like, girl, you should know better.
Yeah.
Like, because I do a lot of, like, when something happens, and I think I learned this from the first marriage, and it just stuck with me, that situations that we end up in, you got to self-reflect.
Yeah.
Like, you have to self-reflect.
Yeah.
What position, where was my mind state when I got there? What made me choose this person? Why did I make this decision? Because when you're in different mind states, you make different actions.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I do a lot of that, like you, sort of like you said, you really should have known better. And if I didn't know better, it's sort of like, well, why wasn't I in the position? Why did I know better? And like, why didn't I see this coming? This person showed me all the signs, and I ignored the signs, and you know, that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's hard for me.
You?
Oh yeah,
It's all
we always have worst critics.
Yeah, definitely. So I think a lot of people, what we should have definitely, I grew up in the terms of forgive and forget. That is nowhere in the Bible. He just says forgive your enemies and pray for them and stuff. Because you know what, to me, that's taken away a part of my experience.
Yeah.
And that it used to make me feel bad because I can't forget. Because if you stole my money,
and I forget,
and I leave my pocketbook around, you might steal it
again.
So I'm like, I can't forget the offense because I have to guard myself at this time. And I just think that's
you need to
wisdom.
see it coming the next time it
and
comes
I think,
to you.
And I think that's wisdom. And I think we have just misconstrued that word. I think until you have a deeper relationship with Christ, you understand what your forgiveness looks like.
Yes.
Because now let me tell you something. As much as I talk, the bottom line is I am going to forgive. For one reason, and one reason only, is because I want the Father to forgive me.
Yeah.
Amen.
That's the only reason.
Yeah.
And that's good enough.
Yeah.
Because that's what the Bible says.
And it's freeing though.
It's
really for yourself. It kind of gives you peace.
It's freeing, but also I've learned to write it down. It says let go of resentment and anger, and I'm working on that because the only person I've ever hated / and had anger for was Devin's father. Nobody else, because it was like that was my child. Everything else I feel like it was done to me personally. I can deal with it, but when I saw that, and I know I picked him and stuff like that, but he was the only person I ever hated, and God had to deal with that. But you know, like forgiveness is good for the soul.
It is.
But work on your forgiveness, and just like you said, it's a process, and your process may look different.
Yes.
And go through your stages. If you feel like fighting, don't fight. Don't fight.
Walk away.
No, just go into the basement like we talked about earlier. We talk to ourselves. So I
That's
made
right. I just say go away.
yeah. And sometimes
Out loud.
they said good therapy is, and I'm scared to do this. Like they said, act like the person is sitting there and you talking to the person like you. They said one girl started fighting the person
That's too emotional.
Yeah, I'm scared to do it.
Yeah, don't do that. They could. If somebody see it, they might classify you as mentally ill.
But they talk about it in a very
like in
deep instructions.
I'm talking about with a therapist
and
write the letter.
That's
okay,
hard.
Write
a letter. It's all hard because I don't want to bring up those feelings. But I don't know if they're repressed or I don't know if they're going.
Maybe I repress mine.
You know, it's so funny because I'm sitting here thinking, why don't I have these issues?
I'm sitting there thinking
like I'm
too.
sitting here, why do I not feel like this? And I really feel like I'm an emotional person.
Like I can look
but like
at stuff
I am not
like,
at all
so
relating right now. Like I'm literally not relating to what you're saying.
Nothing in your life has happened where you are still have to go through the process of forgiving,
No. I think it's the need for the violence to free me.
I knew she was gonna go back to us.
No. I don't mean it negatively, but you just said that she told the lady to sit there and fight. You went back. I'm just saying, I just have never. That's that part, and I feel like I'm missing something.
Okay.
Like I feel
like
like
I don't need to fight. We
I think it has something to do with our personalities.
I think so.
But the point is, forgiveness is necessary.
But don't forget.
And don't forget. Protect yourself and also forgive yourself.
That's the
take
big
home
thing.
message.
Do the work.
Do whatever it takes. Yeah, do whatever it takes. Do the work and forgive yourself because we really need to forgive ourselves and forgive people. But understand this: it's a process. And let me tell you something about the Lord. Even if you haven't felt in your mind that you have forgiven, but in your heart you want to forgive, He'll take that. Yes. So don't let anyone make you feel bad because you don't have this euphoric feeling about the situation. If you want to forgive, God will take that because in your heart, because He said, man looks on the outside, I look on the inside. So forgiveness is not a feeling. It's a mindset. So if you want to forgive, that means you are on your way to forgiveness. So don't let nobody take that from you.
Look at Joe.
That's my ministry.
We got Dr. That's the Joe. All right.
Yes, love
so
it.
forgive, but don't forget. See you
Heck
next time.
no.
Thank you guys for joining us.